Want to start going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right around this time, maybe a little bit earlier. But today, I just want to talk about me, our organization, and what we're doing. Only going to be on for a few minutes. First of all, uh, thank you for subscribing. That's number one. Number two, I want to talk to you about my childhood. I grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, um, right on Meadowbrook Boulevard, if you're familiar with that. And I had a neighbor named Chuck, and Chuck was our neighborhood mentor in a way. We didn't have that name back then, but Chuck really set the tone for everybody in the neighborhood. Meaning, he just kind of just gave his knowledge. He wasn't polished or professional or went through some training or anything like that, but he just told us what we needed to hear, basically. And so we were all grateful for him. I mean, he was amazing in a lot of ways in what we were going through growing up. And so, he's just one of those people that had that sense of community that I think we're missing today. And so those are some of the things I wanted to talk about this morning about a few good mentors, that sense of community that we're building and where you fit in and all of that, and especially AFGM TV. I spent 36 years in the FBI, as many of you all know, who have talked about this on many occasions. But even throughout that process of being in the FBI, um, the having mentors, knowing how to, attract mentors, knowing how to be a good mentee is important for your career. And so, one of the things that we do at A Few Good Mentors is help our young men prepare for that and prepare for that. What makes a good mentor for you? Like I said, growing up, I had Chuck, my brother did, other kids on the street had him, but our responsibility was to listen to him and pay attention to what he was saying, and follow through on a lot of those things. He was just an extension of our parents. And so of course our parents were number one for us. But being an FBI, you always had a sense of mission there on what you're working on and what you're doing. And so I just carried that same thing over to A Few Good Mentors. And we have a sense of mission. Our mission is to mentor to young men ages 8 to 21. And I'll get into some of our core values and how that fits in with AFGM TV in a minute. But mission is so important for us. We go by our shields core value, and I'll break that down for you. But it's the same thing as if I was working in the FBI as of today. And so when I started A Few Good Mentors, I really started it years ago in 2008. And I just did not have a great plan in place back then. And it took nearly 10 years before I really answered the call to get it together, put it all together, and really launch A Few Good Mentors. I always tell people, don't wait. Don't wait for anything. If you have a goal, if you have a desire to do something, go for it. Stick to your values, stick to your mission, and just go for it. Don't wait. And so, at A Few Good Mentors, that's exactly what I did. I waited. I've always coached my kids, sporting events and things like that. I was a mentor with Big Brother, Big Sister. And in 2019, October 1st, 2019, I started A Few Good Mentors. And I chose 2019, especially October 1st, because my father's birthday is October 1st. He's no longer with us, as my mother is not as well. They both were instrumental in my development, same as my three sisters and my brother, all instrumental in my development. But October 1st, 2019, we kicked it off. One mentor, one mentee. I had a few other friends that helped me out, like Greg and James. But we really did not have a whole lot. And then 2020, you know what happened? COVID occurs, and we were able to really flourish even in COVID. And so it was a great time for us. to kick things off for a few good mentors in October 1st, 2019. Like I said, 2020, we started the organization, really started rolling, got our 501(c)(3), and we haven't stopped ever since. And so um, AFGM TV is here because of our core values, which is SHIELDS. And SHIELD stands for spirituality, health, integrity, education, leadership, development, and stewardship. That's how our organization is ran. That's how we are we move is through our Shields program. And AFGM TV really fits into our education area. And I hope everybody subscribing have been taking a look at some of our historical videos, know her name. We did some background information on African countries, 54 countries in Africa for Black History Month. And in April, we're now in April, we are going to really focus on Washington, D.C., because I have been living here in the D.C. area, the DMV, for over 30 years. So it's basically my second home, behind Cleveland. And so wherever you live, whatever you're doing, I think it's important to learn history behind it. History is something I love. History is something that's being taken away from us. And so make sure no one can stop you from reading a book. No one can stop you from doing your own research. And so we just give like a little short videos on history. And so but that goes into, you know, uh our value system with a few good mentors. So subscribe to AFGM TV, learn a lot more. Like I said, this month we're going full force into little hidden stories on Washington, D.C., which is, like I said, my second home. But at A Few Good Mentors, we need you. We're building that sense of community through our mentoring organization and through AFGM TV. And so subscribe, tell other people about it. But most importantly, what would you like to see? We have some ideas coming up in May and June, but what would you like to see on AFGM TV? We tend to stick closer to historical content here, but on our lives, if you have questions, if you have comments, throw that out there so that we can kind of engage in that. But most importantly, this is for the organization. If you are in Northern Virginia, we need you. We need your help in mentoring our young men. We know that there's a gap, that there's millions and millions of families without a male presence in the home. And we want to fill that gap on with A Few Good Mentors and AFGM TV. I'm also a grandfather, and so the history videos that we've put out here, and you can go back and take a look at them. That's kind of how I started it, was really for my grandsons and so that they have something to look at. If the school systems continue to take history out or not talk about certain facts that are out there, it really is our responsibility as a community to talk about little things that may not be discussed in history books. And so AFGM TV is here for that. We're also here to talk about our organization as a whole, which, by the way, if you are in Northern Virginia on April 11th, which is Saturday, we're doing our first youth financial workshop. And that again fits into our core values when we talk about stewardship and being responsible for the things that you have. Finances is right there. And so we're just going to briefly go through a few things. We're only going to be there from 10 a.m. to 11:30 at Word Alive Church International in Manassas, Virginia. So please come on out. I cannot say enough great things about Word Alive Church for allowing us to host our event there. I'm a member there. Love it. If you're looking for a church home, fantastic place to worship Pastor Danner and First Lady Latandra, phenomenal people. But they have a real desire to help youth out financially. And so, come join us April 11th. and also Apple Federal Credit Union. If you're opening an account, will give you $50 just to open an account. So you can't beat that. You learn a little bit more. If you're up to age 23 with parental permission, you have to have your parent there because there's paperwork that needs to be filled out. But come on out, and learn a little bit more about a few good mentors, Apple Federal Credit Union, and their uh, i- you know, impact on the community by opening these accounts. Young Wall Streeters will be there talking about investments. They're based out in Haymarket, Virginia, and also Atlantic Union Bank will be there as well to discuss real estate. And I know you're thinking, well, it's a youth workshop. What do they need to know about real estate? But we're going to set and plant those seeds early. And as a parent, you'll be there and you'll learn about, um, you know, real estate opportunities regardless of your income. And so I think it's going to be great for families, great for the youth, and it's something that we want to do quarterly. So April 11th, we have that. June 27th, we have our 5K, which you will see us really promoting that as well. Um, June, if you're not aware, is National Men's Health Month. And we all know as men, we do not go to the doctor, right? And so we want to change that. We want to become more healthy in 2026. Let's get our men out there to go to the doctor, walk, run, let me tell you something. When I retired in 2022, I could barely run, a mile, basically, believe it or not. And so I really took that into consideration once I retired. My son kind of pushed me to run more as well. And last year, I ran two half marathons, and so now that took a lot of time. And I'm not a fast runner. I'm not trying to set any records or anything like that. But you can do it. But you got to keep moving. I get regular doctor's appointments every 3 to 4 months. I'm diabetic, so I have to go to the doctor and watch what I eat constantly. And so, but it's important to get your testing done. It's important to get out there and move. So our 5K, it'll be both virtual and in person. The in-person event will take place at Rollins Ford Park in the Gainesville, Virginia area. And, come on out and support us. And there will be a sweepstakes tied to the event. And so not only can you get some exercise, not only can you support a few good mentors, but you can also possibly win a 2-night, 3-day trip to Charleston, South Carolina, and you know, and it's free. So you cannot beat any of those things. We're asking for your support on June 27th. But like I said, it is a virtual event. So if you're not located in the DMV area, that's okay. You can still come on out and and see and you can still participate at a 5K, I'm sorry, and you have the entire month of June to run 3.1 miles or walk 3.1 miles. Either way, whatever is best for you, you can do it however you can do it. And so that's what's happening with a few good mentors. Our new 9-month program is going to be kicking off in September. We have so many things coming. You're going to see a lot of me, but subscribe, tell your friends. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I will be live. I'm going to try my best to stick to somewhere between 7 and 7:30 for about 15 or 20 minutes or so. If you have some questions for me, do not hesitate to reach out. You can contact me through our website at www.afgmentoring.net. That's www.afgmentoring.net. Check us out. Stay tuned for us. Support us. We're doing great work here in our community. Have a blessed week, great day. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're going to see the first installments of Untold Stories in DC. All right. Take care.